Bid or bail? Is it time to get on the classic car train or get off of it? What's going on with the market? This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. All right, welcome everybody. My name is John Polnick, and this is a live episode of Bid Nerds. Over there on the other side of the screen, all the way over on the other side, is my partner Michael Deeb in San Francisco. How you doing?
Excellent.
He's just like, one word, I'm ready to go. He's raring to go. He's excited about our guest. Joining me in the Rami studio here in downtown Las Vegas in the Container Park at Rami Studio is Dustin Dapkus, friend of the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic.
Welcome back, sir, and thanks for not wrecking your car on the way here. We were talking about some stuff before we turned on the camera. Holy cow, people are getting freaked out. Tonight we're going to be talking a little bit. I mean, do you guys feel like we need to be bracing ourselves for some kind of massive market impact, or does everybody need to just chill out and carry on, as the Brits like to say, right? We're going to be talking about that, what's going on in the market. We're going to be analyzing car listings on Bring a Trailer and Cars and Bids and P-Car Market. And there's also some crazy stuff going on in the news. Michael Deeb, what's going on with you? You got a bunch of emails from folks tonight who are hanging out watching us. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So JP, here in Marin, Club Wheelhouse has opened its doors officially today in Corte Madera. I am proud to announce that I have been contracted by Club Wheelhouse to be their in-house automotive specialist. So while I will still be selling cars online on the McDeeb moniker, I will also be handling transactions in-house for the members of Club Wheelhouse under their brand. So look for that coming up soon. Club Wheelhouse is a beautiful brick and mortar facility. It's got a stunning mid-century makeover. They have a couple of big screen TVs, and I have it on good authority that Club Wheelhouse will now be hosting essentially watch parties for Bid Nerds on Sundays and Wednesday nights. So every time we go live, it'll be live at Club Wheelhouse. So just a big shout out to anybody that's in the room at Club Wheelhouse and thank them for jumping on. If Club Wheelhouse makes a comment, that's probably from our general manager, Bailey. Please welcome him to the chat and all of the members at Club Wheelhouse. Thank you, JP. Shout out to my friends in Corte Madera.
Very exciting to have Club Wheelhouse joining us tonight. That is pretty awesome. And I do have some other news since at the beginning of the show. So you guys see up in the corner, we've got Godden Classic as our sponsor. They have been they've been sponsoring the show since we started. But tonight we'd like to welcome our friends at Deeb, what the heck are you doing? Is he flipping? Yeah. My partner Michael Deeb is flipping off our new sponsor.
That's Porsche Classic LV. That's Godden Classic. That's them.
Porsche Henderson is now also an official sponsor of the show. So shout out to our friends at Porsche Henderson and Paul Jarrett over there. So that's really cool. Lots of people joining us tonight. If you are over there at Club Wheelhouse, get on your phone and get in there on the get in the live chat and introduce yourself. You'll make lots of great friends in the chat. We call it the Nerd Herd. All right, let's get to it. We are excited tonight. We've got some interesting stuff. Before we get to reconciling our predictions from the last episode, Deeb, you wanted to talk about a listing that's kind of coming out of nowhere. What's going on? Tell me about this.
So JP, really quickly, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. A 1980 Porsche 911 SC ran on Bring a Trailer over the last week and was meant to close yesterday on Tuesday in the morning. The car was listed out of Healdsburg, California, no nonsense coupe with 179,000 miles. And it was very evident by the engagement by the seller that this was his first time ever listing a car on a live auction site. As such, the audience, as you know, when you don't come correct, can tend to be very nitpicky and give you a bit of a bad time. So that's what was happening here. Now, JP, California is a very heavy smog state, but there are little pockets of townships like Healdsburg where you are smog exempt. So they were asking this guy for a smog, and he said, I haven't smogged the car since 1992. And then they were asking him for paint meter readings, and he doesn't own one. And it went back and forth, and it got really snippy really fast. And as we rolled into the day before the close, which was on Monday, somebody in the comments said, hey, heads up, everyone. I think this car, I have it on good authority, that Doty from Monterey, California, Doty sells all those Porsches. Yep. Doty Doty bought the car. And then somebody else said, is that true? And the seller said, yeah, you guys were being so mean. I'm paraphrasing. You guys were being so mean to me. I sold the car to Doty. So if you're really interested in the car, you can go buy it from him. And he goes, I told BAT I want to cancel the listing. Meanwhile, the clock is still running while this engagement is going down on Monday night. So shout out to Jason Portman. Shout out to George, the seller of my SC a couple of days ago. These guys are sending me stuff in real time on Monday evening going, hey, dude, are you watching this? And initially my reaction was, yeah, I saw that car. But then when the texts were coming in at 10 o'clock at night from Jason and George, I was like, all right, I better read the comments. Yuri and I had talked about driving up to Healdsburg to see the car, and Yuri had emailed with the guy like, hey, I'd like, or commented like, I want to come up and see it. I sent you messages in the contact the seller, but you haven't got back to me. Can I still come and see it? And this guy said to Yuri, I'm not comfortable with people coming to my house. I mean, he was just way out of bounds. But the whole bottom line is this. On Tuesday morning, about an hour before the car was supposed to close, BAT finally withdrew the listing, but it's only because the commenters brought it to the site's attention that this car had been applied for being withdrawn, but had not yet been withdrawn, and they had it on good authority that the seller admitted the car was already sold. John, in the 4 years that we've been doing the show, have we ever seen a car get sold and commented on while the auction was still live? I've never seen this happen. And thank you to everybody that sent this to me, because this was a weird one, and the listing is still up. You can go and read all the comments. It is fascinating stuff. If you're a fan of the show, this is popcorn material. You know what I'm saying? So JP, comments on
didn't we see that with your friend Sebastian's 964 Speedster when he bought it from when he bought it from the owner, right, and it was still live on P-Car Market? In fact, P-Car Market listed it.
That's right.
After it was already sold. So there. I mean,
that's a very timely analogy, because Sebastian is now selling the car. If you see a white on white Speedster out of San Francisco, that's Sebastian's car, a friend of the show. So he's selling his car, and that car is now being sold by him. It is actually for sale this time. So yeah, JB.
A lot of inside baseball here. Dustin, you work at a big dealership here in town that sells lots of sports cars and exotic cars and stuff like that. Have you guys ever dealt with Doty?
We don't do a lot of classic stuff. Yeah. Every now and then we'll get a cool Porsche, but it's, for one of us.
This seller complaining. Yeah, right. Everybody knows this seller complaining that buyers or commenters on BAT are being mean to him. Have you seen one of these videos with Doty? He just seems like the biggest asshole. I've never met the guy. But you watch these videos, I can't believe he films himself and puts that on the internet, and that somehow makes other people want to buy cars from him. He is just like the biggest slime ball. He just grinds people. Dude, stealing cars from old guys that it just seems really skeezy to me. I don't know. What do you guys think of Doty?
So who's worse? Beverly Hills Motoring? Is that a car club, right? Where they got all the bottom of the barrel project cars you can buy? Right?
Cut from the same cloth, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where just we'll pull the car up from the bottom of the lake and I'll give you $500 for it and sell it for 20 grand,
Yeah, but Beverly Hills doesn't put themselves on the internet showing them taking advantage of people and grinding on them, whereas Doty does. I just find that really distasteful, but
there we go. All right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, all right. Let's move on from that. Let us know what you think of Doty, and what do you think of this listing? What would you do if you were being treated meanly on BAT? Would you withdraw your listing and just sell it to someone like Doty, or would you just take it like a man, or just hire someone like my friend Michael Deeb over here to deal with it for you? That's what he does. All right. Let's get to analyzing some results of listings that we made predictions on the last episode, and don't fret, we will be making predictions a little bit later in this episode, but let's get to reconciling the ones we made on the last episode. The big reason our friend Dustin is here tonight, speaking of speedsters, is this one right here. Michael Deeb, quickly remind everyone what we're talking about here.
Yeah, so Dustin's fingerprints and blood, sweat, and tears are all over this build. Everybody's friend Jaeger took on this incredible project to build the car that Porsche wouldn't a 993 Speedster. And for the handful of people that did build them, nobody went to the lengths that Dustin and Yeager did, building a wide body with turbo flares and turbo S quarters and the Speedline wheels and the big reds. I mean, this car is incredible. I'll let Dustin speak to that. This is one of our favorite cars, and JP, you let the herd know that this was arguably that relationship that you forged with Yeager was a big part of the reason you wound up in Vegas and we wound up as friends, and the show came to being in large part due to this car, as we see right here. Now, we know that the seller bought the car previously, JP, and paid about $230,000 for it about a year or two. The car has come back to market, showing 28,000 on the odometer, listed out of Southern California, Calabasas, California, on P-Car Market. JP, we wondered how the car would do so soon after our seller had recently purchased the car. With that in mind, the $230,000 comp, we believed that the car would fall short due to the fact that P-Car Market was handling the transaction and how soon it was from the purchase. So, JP, I still thought the car would get to $210,000, but I thought it would fail to sell at my number. Your bid came in $10,000 cheaper at $199,300. Dustin, I'm sure you were watching the car, but did you have a guess as to what you thought the car would hammer for, irregardless of what the result actually was?
I know what it costs to build that car, right? Piece by piece.
Yeah.
Those are not like just Speedline wheels. Those are real GT2 wheels, and those were center locks that were drilled.
Wow.
So 40K on the wheels, 27 on the seat. I mean, you could break it down, and I could park that car out for $250K.
Yeah, so there you go. JP, our car hammered for $200,000 where it failed to sell on 22 bids. And about an hour or two later, they made a post-hammer deal at $215,000 on essentially the first real offer they got. So the car sold at $215,000. John, the guy bought the car for $230,000. The price of money's gone up, and he sold it for less. You know, in essence, this guy probably lost about 20% on the car if we to presume that he registered it in his name. You know, what do you make of the value of the build? Maybe I should pose that question to Dustin. What do you make on the value, considering what it would cost to build that car, what it cost to build the car 10, 15 years ago versus what it just transacted for at just $215,000? I call it a screaming deal. Would you guys agree?
Justin, I'll let you answer that one real quick.
I think it's a smoking deal. I really do. Because knowing what Porsche Classic parts are going for now, right? I mean, from the time that car was finished to now, it's been at least a 28% increase, something like that. It's a lot. And some of these parts you just can't find anymore. You can hardly find the windshields. You can't find the humps easily, the doors. I mean, the wheels were a one-off to even get those. We got them from this guy, was it Paul Dvorak, I think? He used to be on Renless, right? And the Speedster seats, those are real Speedster seats. They're a little different than the RS seats. There's like a trampoline difference, and some of the padding is different. $27,000 15 years ago? I mean, what's that translate now?
Yeah.
A lot of money. And the car's done right. It's just on a stock motor, right? And I got questions about the history on that car because I thought it had dirty Carfax. That's just me.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about that last week. It is mentioned on the Carfax that the car was a theft recovery very early on in its life, like literally sometime around delivery. But that was mentioned on the Carfax, but it was apparently scrubbed from the title because the Carfax didn't say salvage title. And once again, this is one of these situations where I believe, let's back up a second. $200,000 is where this car hammered. And then, like Deeb said, an offer was accepted for what, $15,000 more. I think that is just woefully low. And that's because P-Car Market, they're just a bunch of jackasses over there. They screwed up this auction like they always do. Yep. And I think part of that is because they did not disclose that salvage mention in the actual listing. It had to be brought up in the comments as people went and opened up the Carfax and discovered that now the narrative is trying to overcome that story, right? Now that's what everyone's focusing on rather than how great this car is. If PCAR Market knew how to, and it just boggles my mind that PCAR Market has been at this for so damn long and they still haven't figured this out. These unforced errors that they make over and over and over again. If they had just put it in the actual listing that, hey, this car was a theft recovery, it wasn't a salvage, and that's mentioned in the Carfax, but it's important to mention that this car does not have a salvage title. This car has a totally clean title. If that was disclosed up front, then you're controlling the narrative about the car, and then people can go right into asking questions about how great the car is and what was the build, and does it have legit GT2 wheels or whatever the heck. You can start talking about the value that this car represents rather than trying to overcome an objection that just didn't need to be overcome. It wasn't a problem. Yeah. Nobody had a problem with this. Dustin, I know that you have it on good authority that this car, so Jaeger didn't sell it to this particular seller. He sold it to someone else, and then this particular seller bought it from that person. Dustin, are you able to disclose how much the person bought the car for him? I'm not going to make you do that on air unless you want to, because I know the number is ridiculously high at some point.
The guy had to have the car, right? He sold a bunch of vintage Porsches that were race cars. He had an RSK. He had the coolest stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And he was, I won't say who he was, but it's on YouTube. There's a video that shows his current collection, right? Yeah. And he was like an accountant to Walt Disney for 45 years. So the guy was doing okay, right? But as he got a little bit older and he's got grandchildren, he sold everything off to buy Roadsters and Speedsters, and he wanted one of every year. He was doing like the Magnus Walker thing, but with Speedsters. Yeah, right. So he did not have a 993. And I did the pre-purchase in my shop when I was at Mercedes-Benz a while back, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the guy who came out to like tear into the car and kind of argue it's like how well it was done was Marlon from Workshop 5001. You guys know him?
I'm not aware of that.
So he was head engineer over at Singer when they first opened up, and there were like 10, 15 employees. So he definitely knows a little bit about Porsches. So I was almost intimidated, but I think the car represented itself really well. I mean, there's not anything that's missing on this car that should be there. Yeah. And so they paid up for it. I won't say the exact amount, but it was, let's call it almost double. Yeah. Right?
That's
crazy. The guy had to have it, and he had deep pockets, so.
Yeah. Hey, Dustin, what do you think that car weighs?
God, it's not as light as my car.
No.
But it's full interior. Everything's stock. When you get underneath it, it's got a set of PSS 10s, and everything else is bone stock. The engine's bone stock. He put some Fisker mufflers on it, but otherwise, that car underneath it's a late 94 993.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I remember driving it, being lucky enough to drive it. It was very similar to the 95 993 that I owned. In fact, I've seen pictures of this car in its original, before it was made into a Speedster, and it was a Polar Silver 993, just like the one I owned. So, but I did see, there were a couple of times where Jaeger really pushed this thing, the Dan's Drive at Monterey years ago. That was a hell of a lot of fun. I remember him chasing me when I was in a 993 Turbo. So shout out to our friend Jaeger. Hope you're doing well, and hopefully we'll see him soon. And what do you guys think of the result of this amazing 993 Speedster? Was that well bought? Should the seller have held on and actually listed this thing on a real platform like Bring a Trailer, or maybe even take it to someplace like Sotheby's or a live auction coming up this summer? That's certainly what I think the seller should have done. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. And let's move on to the next car we made a prediction on. What was that, Michael Deep?
All right, JP, you selected for us this Rivian, this 2022 Rivian R1S launch edition with the quad motor. Now, JP, the R1S, the SUV, was first launched in 2022, and the launch edition here, this one has the quad motor, making it the most powerful and fastest version of the car. Our car is listed on Bring a Trailer out of Owens Cross Roads in Alabama, showing 36,000 miles on the odometer. JP, as I did a tiny bit of research to find comps to see what these early launch editions were bringing, which were pretty high numbers. Some of the launch editions were getting $90,000, but most of those cars had just a fraction of the miles that this one has. So believe it or not, JP, this 4-year-old car, or whatever it is, 3-year-old car with 36,000 miles winds up being the granddaddy of all the other Rivians that have run on BAT and Cars and Bits. So with that in mind, JP, we wondered how far this car would go. Again, according to Classic.com, the average selling price of a 22 is $89,000. I thought our car would sputter out at around $58,000. You came in at $55,000. Dustin, care to venture a guess on what the Rivian would bring on Bring a Trailer?
God, you know, electric car pricing, if you look at the Taycans, just absolutely tanked. Absolutely tanked. I mean, 47 maybe.
47. And listen, I wouldn't fault you for going there. Again, I think the one bright spot in the secondary market are the launch editions for no real reason. But our car did a little better than the three of us. It hammered at $60,500 where it sold on 35 bids. JP, we're sort of talking about that the way Dustin just did. Anything to glean from that result? Again, according to Classic, these cars are bringing 90. That data seems like it's already antiquated because we all bid in the 50s and it barely made 60 grand.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the reason why I brought this car up is just because, you know, our friends over at Tesla are having so many problems with people vandalizing cars. And I just figure that maybe the value of the Rivians or some of the other brands might go up because people that might still want an EV but don't want to be seen in a Tesla or something like that. But then I found this video has been going all over Twitter. Here's a brilliant young lady. I mean, just an absolute rocket surgeon here. This is probably one of the smartest people in the world. Here she is. Yes, she's vandalizing and keying what she thinks is a Tesla, but sorry, that was a Rivian, dipshit. You don't even know how to vandalize the right car, and that just says a lot about anyone who would vandalize someone else's car. Yeah, this Rivian, okay, it brought a little bit of money, but it's just, who cares? It's an EV that I just don't think the Rivians are going to be around for very much longer. They're just not getting enough traction in the market. Dustin, what do you think?
I like Rivian. We got one on hold that's coming, the smaller one, to replace our B-Class that's had 3 Tesla motors replaced in 47,000 miles. Thank God for warranty on that. Not a big fan of electric cars, though, no secret there.
Yeah, I don't think any of the nerd herders are really getting excited about these. But what do you guys think the results of this 2022 Rivian? Was that well bought? Is that the good alternative to a Tesla? Or would you just go and get the real thing? I feel like anybody getting an EV that's not a Tesla is just like getting a copy. You know, they're just like getting a knockoff or something like that. Just get the dang Tesla and be done with it. All right, let's move on. What's the next car that we made a prediction on the last episode? Michael Lee, what do we got?
All right, JP, I just felt myself being a little bit partial to this 1994 BMW 850 CSI with, of course, the 6-speed manual. Our car was listed on P-Car Market out of Endicott, New York, showing 107, almost 108,000 miles from new. JP, I believe our car ran on BAT just a couple of weeks ago where it failed to sell at $68,000. Now, again, according to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price of a 94 CSI is on average about $96,800. But this car just FTS'd on BAT for $68,000. I thought our car would come just under that. My bid was $65,000. You parked yours further under me at just $59,850. Dustin, you deal with a lot of exotic cars. These 850 CSIs haven't really ever like sparked a big momentum as far as value, but they are interesting cars. Any love for the 850 CSI, and what do you think this one would have hammered for on P-Car Market?
Yeah, and Dustin, before you get to that, I need to correct something, and I don't know, maybe I missed maybe you were speaking so quickly that I wasn't able to keep track with my partner, Michael D. But this car did not get bid to $65,000. This car got bid to $45,888. And then an offer came in afterwards when this car was in the deal tank. So this car was only bid to $45,888. So, and I know what's that?
Yeah. The $65,000 was my bid, and the $68,000 was the BAT failure to sell. So I haven't gotten to the result yet. But you just did, which is great.
Yeah,
So the car
Okay, the
hammered-
68,000 was the BAT bid, not
Right.
not P
Yeah,
car.
so
That's
that-
where I got confused. Okay,
Right.
got it. So
Yeah,
I jumped in front of Dustin, didn't let him bid, but yeah. What do you think of this car, Dustin? What would you think this thing's worth? Even though you know what it got bid to.
Well, I love cars from the 90s, right? And I'm a Porsche guy. I worked at Benz, but I remember these BMWs, especially. We had an 860 that came in. That was the V12, right?
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
This is
to
a
work
V12.
on. Oh, is
Yeah.
it? I thought,
The 850.
oh,
yeah.
no, it's 840, 850, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that car looks great. It was M5 wheels on it, I think, and that car's set up right. I mean, it looks sexy, but everybody used to say it looked like a Ford Probe, right? Back in the day.
It does kind of look like
good
that.
analogy.
It's got that vibe.
Good
It's got that
analogy.
vibe. But a great
Yeah.
car. Cars
Yeah.
from the 90s are awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our car hammered JP at $45,800. I don't know what the bid count was because I didn't get a chance to get back to it. They did get an offer at 65, and they have not accepted the offer at 65. You can buy it now out of the deal tank where it is listed for $85,000. So let me just run this number right back to you. JP, at $85,000, do you think that's a good value, or do you think they're crazy on that number? And Dustin, the same question to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for the confusion there. I heard your $65,000 number where I'm trying to, produce this whole thing, and that happened to be the same number that you bid. So you got kind of a pseudo Yahtzee, even though I won that one.
You did win that one.
Yeah, boy, this is such a beautiful car, and I'm with you, Dustin. This era of cars is when all the greatest cars in the world existed. Nothing is built like this anymore. BMW has totally lost its way. There's no car that BMW currently makes that I would rather have than this particular car. True. And that's not saying much. There are certainly other BMWs from this era or other BMWs from other eras that I would prefer over this car. But this particular car is this is literally, they don't build them like they used to, and they never will again. 12 cylinders from our friends in Bavaria. That's just never happening again. Dustin, what do you think of the results, and what do you think?
I mean, looking at the car, just the pictures, and hopefully they weren't touched up too much. I mean, gaps are good. The paint looks good. Everything's where it should be. I mean, look at the detailing on the rotors and on inside the gas store. I mean, that car presents like a really low mileage, clean car, or it was just really, really cared for. So I think it's fair. What are you going to find? I mean, you can't get a Honda now for $50K.
Right.
Bravo.
Think about that.
But a Honda is going to come with a warranty and isn't going to completely
We
financially
avoid those
destroy
anyways.
you.
Come on.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let us know what you guys think of the 850. Was that a good deal? Should someone buy it at 85, or should the seller accept that $65,000 offer? Let us know in the comments. And we are going to get to some actual predictions because that's what people get excited about. Stick around. We'll be right back. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are looking at our watch going, is Bid Nerds over? I've got an Aviaire from Our Smiths. I'm wearing mine. I know my partner Michael Deeb is wearing his. We are excited for, look, this watch. I know I've been saying it for literally months now. We are going to give this watch away. I've been holding, I love this watch. I don't want to give it away. It is a one-of-a-kind built by our friend Anthony from Our Smiths. And the fact is, I like having an Aviaire on my wrist, and I have it on good authority that a new one is en route that will be here in Vegas before the next episode. So I'll be able to show off that watch on the Sunday episode coming up. We are always live Wednesday and Sunday at 6:30. So I will be retiring this watch. We'll figure out a way to give it up. We'll do some kind of contest, and I will be wearing my brand spanking new Aviero watch, and I am very, very excited for it. I haven't seen a picture of it. I have no idea what it looks like. So I'm really stoked. It's going to be a lot of fun to open that box. Michael Deeb, my partner over there, I know has seen the watch, but there it is. All right, let's go. Let's get to some predictions. That's what we do. Michael Deeb, what is the first car on tonight's list?
All right, JP, 992 Love as our halo car for tonight's show is this beautiful 2023 Porsche 911 Carrera GTS Coupe equipped with the 7-speed manual, which are becoming increasingly more difficult to find. Our car is listed on Bring a Trailer out of Campbell Hall, New York, showing just 6,000 miles on the odometer from new. Now 2 years old, JP, with 6,000 on the odometer. John, the Gentian Blue is a 992 color. I'm okay with that, even though I know you don't like blues. I like blues. This would be okay for me. But that truffle brown club leather, miss me with that stuff. The inside of this car, JP, looks like the inside of a, I don't know, like a cigar box or something. It's beige everywhere, and I just miss me with the interior. Outside of the interior color, I really like the way this one is equipped. Center lock wheels, which again, you can get them with or without center locks. I think the center locks are cool, and maybe Dustin will tell us if they are actually lighter. The car has Porsche's PDCC, the Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control. It's got ceramic brakes, rear axle steering, the LED matrix lights, and of course the 7-speed manual. JP, I drove these cars with the PDK on the track at Barber Motorsports for 3 days and fell in love with the car. Now, again, on the track doing laps, they're just a teeny bit soft. But this car, as an all-around driver for most of your, 95% of your driving is going to be on the road. This is a fantastic car. The motor is incredible. Because it's two-wheel drive, the cars feel very light. The steering and the turning and the braking is absolutely amazing. And this is just a sports car. It's not even a GT car. I think these cars are slightly underappreciated, and they're really great drivers. The color of this one on the inside kind of messes it up for me. But, man, a car equipped like this would make any person who loves to drive happy. So I hope this car does well for that reason and that reason alone. And the new ones that are coming out are much heavier with this hybrid system and all this other nonsense. That's too complex. This is the last sort of lightweight, just, I hate to call them simple because Dustin knows better than that, but they're not as complex as the new ones are. So I think this is the one to have, in my opinion. So JP, I send it over to you. You and I aren't huge fans of like 991s and 992s compared to 997s and everything that came before it. But this car with the manual is an engaging driver's car, despite it being sort of big, heavy, and slightly numb. It's the nicest of the breed without breaking the bank for a GT car. What do you think?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I think right now, given that, the car everyone wants is that stupid, ST. Yeah, and no one.
Stupid. Come on.
Well, I mean, look, it's awesome. I'm not saying it's stupid. Yes, I am saying it's stupid because you can't get one. Nobody can get one. They're just unobtainium. Even if you have the money. Sorry, there's only like 5 of them or something like that.
It's easy. Buy 5 Taycans, 6 Macans, and and they might give you an allocation. That's how it works.
It's just that simple. Exactly. Thank you for making my point, Dustin. This is a car you can actually get. I actually like the color interior. I don't know why my partner is so ishing all over it because he was going to buy that Land Rover that was basically the same interior color. I decided not to get it for him. That's a whole other story. Sorry, guys. No, I do love this car. The GTSs are great. I've never driven a 992 GTS, but I've driven plenty of 991 GTSs, and I can imagine that this must be, that much better. But I have a question for you, Dustin. There's been some confusion about this, and I feel like maybe I got something wrong. This transmission, the 7-speed manual transmission in the 991s and the 992s, you told me a while back, and you're someone who works on all of these cars, that the transmission, Is it really a PDK transmission? Tell us about this. How does this work?
Yeah, there's a little bit of witchcraft going on with the 7-speed versus a 6-speed, like in the GT3 or the ST, right? Mm-hmm. So the 7-speed is a converted PDK trans because they do a 7 and an 8-speed PDK, right?
Right.
And they got this because it's a dual stack transmission. You guys follow that, obviously. The shifter is like this control module. It's a Mikosa. If you look it up, Porsche shift interface for PDK manual trans. So it'll actually break down the gears in the proper order. So it's a little bit of like witchcraft or Fugazi with this particular 7-speed transmission. It's an electronic connection, not so much a visceral rod or a cable setup.
So and this is where I get really confused because I'm not very smart. Everyone knows that. I barely understand how a single clutch works. You got the slave cylinder and the throw up bearing and all that kind of stuff. I understand that when a clutch fails, I know how much it costs to replace on something like a 997 or a 993 or an old 964 or on the way back. But if the clutch fails on one of these 7 speeds, is the service for it similar to a PDK service, or is it like a traditional clutch service? Help me out on that. Like what? Because I would I kind of know how long a clutch will last in a traditional manual transmission. You get 40 to 80,000 miles out of them with normal wear. The PDKs are different. Can you help us out with that? Like, what are we expecting here?
I think the benefit of the PDK gearbox is the dual stack setup, right? Mm-hmm. So understand it as the gears are engaged, but there's another gear on deck that it'll get to faster than you would normally shift, right? So that's the benefit.
Right.
I would have to go into the gearboxes. I have not had to service one of these things. They are bulletproof, absolutely bulletproof. But I did talk to Bill Rader. He's local, right? Mm-hmm. And he has not gone in and done clutch work on these.
So, yeah, because I have asked around. Like, I've asked, like, has anyone done a clutch on a 7-speed? And I've stumped the chunk. Like I have asked our good friend Tony Mazzagatti, you know, in town. I was like, "Hey,
Tony!"
Tony. Shout out to our buddy Tony. It's like, "Hey, how much is it cost? How much more difficult is it to service the clutch on one of these? Because I heard it's basically a PDK, but not." And he just kind of scratched his head. He's like, "God, yeah, you know what? We
never done one.
No one's asked to have one done. No one's ever had one fail. So that's really interesting. Does that But what about PDKs? How long can you expect a PDK to last?
Normal, like electronically paddle shifted PDK.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my understanding is that there's no like serviceable clutch. It's more like an automatic transmission.
Yeah.
Right. So there's clutches.
Yeah. So you haven't seen one in your service shop yet?
No, we blow all kinds of cool stuff up.
Yeah.
But I have not. I've not seen somebody blow one of these up. I did have a guy with leaks on a 991 PDK box, and then it's just a serviceable replacement.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw another local shop service one in a Panamera, and it was a CarMax service. So this particular shop was certified somehow, and they had never done one. And pulling that thing out of the Panamera looked like pulling the engine out of a Messerschmitt or something like that. I mean, it just looked like there were so many hydraulic line. It was just like, what the heck? Didn't look like anything I've ever seen in a car before. But all right. Talked a lot about the transmission. Thanks for kind of going down the rabbit hole with us on that. What do we think this beautiful 992 GTS is going to go for? Since you can't get an ST, what are you going to have to pay for this thing?
All right, JP, great question, since that's what we do on the show. According to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price for a 992.1 GTS two-wheel drive coupe is $162,900. But that, JP, that number is a swirling menage of both PDKs and 7-speed manuals. Classic doesn't split those apart, at least not yet. JP, our car, again, just has 6,000 miles in 2 years and is really well spec. Somebody in the comments called it old money spec. Randy B, that's a great comment. And Chris Carbine called it enthusiast spec, which I agree with both of those takes. John, our car is sitting at $130,000. That comes to us by way of just 4 bids, and it closes tomorrow. With that in mind, JP, I think the car is going to do a little better than average. I think our car is going to go $169,920 at Hammer. The only reason I'm not in the 170s like everybody else in the herd is I think that interior is polarizing. I don't like it. You do. That makes my point. I think that the fact that it's not a broad appeal like a black or whatever, something like that, the whole beige interior I think is too polarizing. If I had the money, I'd wait for the next one to come.
It's not beige. Stop calling it beige.
It's like a baseball glove.
Like, okay, fine, you don't like it, but
much.
it's not beige. It's like mocha or brown or espresso or something.
I think the interior holds it back.
Look,
JP,
the authority on ballsack leather beige is Buddha, our good friend Michael, and he's in the nerd herd tonight, and he specifically said that is not beige. Okay, thank you very much. And like I said,
he loves the ball sack and the color. So it's like
he is the authority. He is the authority. Okay, look, I think if you're boomer or boomer adjacent, this color combo is going to scare you away. This is definitely a young money car. The boomer type is the one that's going to want the PDK version. This is the guy. This is for a younger person. So yeah, I think this car is going to bring the big money because Porsche people are weird with their colors and they like weird colors. Whether you like it or not, they like the weird colors and they'll pay more for it. I'm gonna say 175,992 and hand it off to Dustin. What do you think it's gonna bring?
Knowing that at Vegas Auto Gallery we sell, you like that? I plugged our store. We sell a lot.
I'll send them an invoice.
Yep. I have seen a lot of 991, 992 cars come through. We don't get a lot of manuals. Right now we got a Python green with center locks, but it doesn't have ceramics.
Yeah.
And we got it listed at 168, and we've had a lot of action on it. I think this car specs out a little bit nicer. I think the mileage is a little bit lower. I'd put it at 175 and call it a younger guy's gateway drug to a touring or an ST someday. I mean, I think it's a great car. Yeah.
So you're bidding $992 below me? Is that what we're doing?
No, I think typically.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's good.
10% premium on a real manual, right?
Yeah. You and I are right there. We agree. All right, what do you guys think this 992 will bring? Let us know in the comments below, and let's move on. We got more cars to analyze. Let's get to the next one real quick. What do we got, Deep?
All right, Dustin, this car is just for you. Check out this 1999 Mercedes-Benz C43 that is currently listed on Bring a Trailer at a Highland Park, Illinois. Dustin, check it out. This car has just 55,000 miles and has not yet been beat to within an inch of its life. You may remember that Mercedes-Benz absorbed AMG, and the first offering was on the C-Class in the C280. That car is equipped with an inline 6 with an AMG, I think mostly like a headwork and some compression upgrade for a whopping 280 horsepower. But the Mercedes-Benz AMG partnership second offering was the C43, where they made the suspension a little beefier. They got more creative with the bodywork, thicker steering wheel, and more bolstered seats. But now we've got a 4.3-liter V8, good for around 300 horsepower and another like 285 pound-foot of torque. This little car could actually scoot. Now, I don't know if these cars were a massive sales success back in 1999, while we were watching the demise of the .com and all this other nonsense.
Y2K.
But most of these cars got driven to like 200,000 miles, and when they trade for less than 10 grand. This car looks absolutely clean. It's got an all-black interior, resell silver from your Mercedes-Benz days, and I think the condition and the rarity of the car might actually drive the price up to something slightly respectable. So, JP, I send it over to you. Any love for these early C-Class AMG cars? And then let's send it over to Dustin because he knows if these cars are actually worth a spit or not. Because, if they don't hold up well, Dustin will tell us.
Well, Mercedes definitely learned their lesson. After having driven your, Michael Deeb's, 190 Cosworth, I remember that car, totally great little, little rocket sedan, right? Little sports car that with 4 seats. But you know, its big failing wasn't the suspension, it wasn't the engine, it wasn't the shape. It was the fact that the seats were like these bouncy, spongy, flat things, and you just slid around the damn car. So Mercedes, they were Recaros, but you're like, bam, into the side, and then boom, you're in the passenger seat. Even your wife agrees with me that the seats were terrible in that car. And then here is the C43 a generation later, and they put seat bolsters in there to keep you in place. So this car's got to be a heck of a lot more fun. Too bad it doesn't have 3 pedals like your Cosworth did. Dustin, what do you think of these?
I was at Ben's first from 93 to 2003.
Oh,
so I PDI'd these cars back in the day.
Yes.
And here's the answer to your first question is we didn't get a lot of them. So they were in and out quick. The first car was a C36, which was a C280 bored and stroked. It had SL500 Brembo brakes, 4 pistons, and monoblocks on it. What a great car, but a little underpowered and a little heavy. The 43 came out, and it fixed all that. I mean, it's such a badass car. It really is. So that's an M113 motor, but the 4.3. A lot of guys will swap the CLK55 motor in there. It's a lot of fun.
Ooh, cool.
Easy swap too. It just bolts in basically. But these were great cars, and I don't think I've seen one come to market this clean and this stock. I mean, it's got stock springs. It's got the blue glass in it. Everything looks correct. Even the wiper motors are parked in the right spot, and they never do that. They're usually all wonky, right? What a great car.
Oh,
sweet.
good. Glad you like it.
What's it going to bring?
All right, so according to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price for the C43 AMG is just $16,000. Now, my initial bid was, our car is sitting at $12,000, but it doesn't end for 3 days. JP, this one's going to close on Friday, and that comes to us, those $12,000 comes to us by way of 6 bids. So it's got a little bit of action, but it's got days to go. Initially, my bid was $25,000, but upon Dustin's winning endorsement, JP, I'm going to start my bid with a 3. I'm going to go $30,043 and send it to you, John. Where are you at? I'm in the 3s. I dare you to bid above me.
Yeah, I love this car, but I think, cars from this era, these young timers are really popular right now. We're seeing it with Mark II Volkswagens. We're seeing it with, the JDM stuff like the 300ZXs and the FDRX7s and Supras. But I think the problem with this car is the fact that they never made a 3-pedal car, and I think that that's going to cause this car to fail to really launch. I think it'll do well because it is a wonderful car, and I would love to own one myself. What a great daily driver. But I don't think it's going to get into the 30s. I'm going to go $26,043 and hand it off to Dustin. What do you think?
I think, unfortunately, it's still a R202, right? It's just a basic C-Class with some really cool parts on it. I think AMG was just kind of figuring things out when they came on to Benz at that time. It's not the stuff that they're building now, which is super cool. God, I love the car, but I agree. It needs to be a 3-pedal car to be an enthusiast car. I don't think they're really worth much. They're not. There's no good comps out there.
Nope.
I'd put it at high 20s, even though looking at the Mark IV R32s, I mean, we've seen those go up 80, 100 grand, crazy pricing on Bring a Trailer because people see them as a great car. And this is a great car, but I don't think anybody knows about it.
Got to give it a number.
29.5.
29.5. All right, there it is. Good bid.
Guess.
All right.
Fun car. Thank you, guys. That was awesome.
What do we got next, Steve? We're rocking through them. What do we got next?
All right, pinkies up for your tea, guys. I picked a British car just to throw you all off. Check it out, and I don't even know if I can pronounce this. 1997 TVR Cerbera with the 4.2. Now, Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought a lot of TVRs used American muscle, but it turns out they built their own engines. So the 4.2 is, in fact, their own in-house 4.2-liter naturally aspirated V8. Our car is listed on Bring a Trailer in Redondo Beach, California, and is right-hand drive. It's in California, but it's on a Montana title in the seller's name. This car is a 5-speed manual, but right-hand drive. JP, I don't know if you've done that or done it recently, but man, instant dyslexia. Just a quick nod. That motor, the AJP Speed 8 V8 was built in-house at TVR. It's a 75-degree bank angle, 360 horsepower, and 320 pound-foot of torque. These cars are lightweight and can get in and out of their own way. They scoot. I don't know if they handle as well as they look. Like, they look like sports cars, but I think they're more like Grand Tours. But it just looks like a hell of a lot of fun. I think the colorway, again, me with the interiors, I think the colorway with that cream interior and the red carpets will hold this back. That, along with the fact that it's right-hand drive. But cool cars that now on the United States 25-year exemption, we're seeing more and more TVRs, and this just looked like a nice one. Despite having a whopping 53,000 miles on the odometer, this one looked particularly clean. So, JP, ever driven a TVR? What do you think?
I have not, and I don't really have much interest in anything with right-hand drive. As cool as it is, and I have driven right-hand drive cars. The place to drive a right-hand car, by the way, are right here in Las Vegas on the the loop around Red Rock.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's no oncoming traffic, so you don't have to worry about being too far over the yellow line in the middle. I got to drive DIY Mike's RX-7 FD a few years ago. Shout out to our friend DIY Mike. What a beautiful looking car in general. If it were right-hand drive, I'd be paying attention. I'm sorry, if it were left-hand drive, I'd be paying attention. The nose of this thing is all beat up. I'm surprised how just really banged up the front of this car is. But it is neat. I don't know. Dustin, you know anything about these?
A little bit. What was the TVR that was in Swordfish with John Travolta? Had the flip-flop.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that, right?
Jeez, that's, yeah. All
Good
I know is that
call.
it was a TVR, but I don't know which one. Was it this one?
No. It was a two-door. It might have been a convertible, too.
This
but
one's a two-door, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, but it's long. It's a touring car, like you guys said. I think it's got some really sexy lines. It's different. It would definitely turn some heads, but knowing British car quality, especially if they're doing an in-house motor, I would probably run away from that car because, that's just a bad idea. But it looks super cool. I love the chop top.
What's it going to bring, Gabe?
All right, JP. According to our friends at Classic.com, the TVR Cerbera 4.2s typically bring about $40,000. JP, I did look at a close-up at the front end, and the front end is really bad. It's got a really nasty patina on it, and not in a good way. So initially, JP, our car is currently sitting at $28,000, and it closes in 2 days. I'm going to stick to my bid that $38,000 is going to be the hammer. And believe it or not, I think it'll sell for that number. So $38,000 is all it's going to take to convert to right-hand drive. But, you do it at your own peril. JP, what's your bid?
Yeah, there's so few people that even know what this thing is to pay. I mean, that's the thing. This car, this is the kind of car that if it were left-hand drive, I think a lot of people would know what the heck it is, and this is something that people would be really excited about, and this could be a $100,000 car, but it's just going to languish. Jaguar redesigned all their cars recently, and they just totally fell in their face. This car definitely looks better than anything Jaguar came out with recently, but it's just still not. It's going to get about as much traction as a Bud Light. I'm going to say $33,000 and hand it off to Dustin. What do you think?
So the TVR in Swordfish was the Tuscan, and
Yeah.
I had a guy with a collection back in Chicago that had about 80 cars. And it was all weird stuff. He had like 2 Lambo Espadas. He had a Miura at one point, but he sold that. So this particular guy had the Tuscan, and I think he paid $18,000 for it, and I couldn't keep the thing running. I mean, it was like a newer, like the newest Jag and Rover stuff. It is just not built well, especially in our climate here in the heat in Vegas. I would say that's a car in the teens. As much as it looks like a $60,000 car, it's going to be hard to get parts for. And British cars, they're not built right.
Well, what's it going to bring? It's already at 31.5. So
No, it's at 28.
Oh, it's at 28. Sorry. So what's it going to bring?
Well, you look at customs and what they paid to get it over here. That's probably going to be most of the money. I would put it under 30. I really would.
Well, hold on a second. Deep. I'm looking at the ad right now, and have we
refresh
gotten
one?
bids while we were sitting here? It's at
Probably.
31.5
Yeah,
already.
Wow.
So
I just
Dustin, I'll give
refreshed
you a
my
chance
browser.
to give your bid one more time.
I mean, there's no comps, so I'm just going to throw it out there. Maybe 33. My lucky number.
2 days
That's
to go. I think we might all be
that's-
wrong.
That's the same bid as you, JP. So one of you got to give me a different number.
I'll let Dustin go higher or lower.
33.5.
33.5. All right. There it is. All right, what do you think the TVR is going to bring? Right-hand drive goodness or in the gutter? Let's move on to the next car. We got one more. We got a little time. Let's do it.
Oh, okay, cool. So, JP, very interesting car on P-Car Market right now. This 1994 Porsche RS America. That's not it, John.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep talking about it. I'll find it.
Okay, so our car is listed on P-Car Market out of Cologne, Germany. Couple things that are worth mentioning. The car is a midnight blue metallic, which has to be the rarest shade that was offered for the RS America. It's a 94, meaning it has a back seat. And our car, despite being located in Germany, is a U.S. domestic car that was some time ago sent to Germany. So if you're scared about bringing a car back in and wondering if it'll make it, this car was originally titled in the United States. So this would be a very easy car to bring back in because it's a typical American VIN, not a ZZZ VIN. When I found the car on Elferspot, I reached out to the owners of the dealership, and the gentleman who emailed me back wonderful correspondence, lots of photos and history on the car. And of course, it would be very easy to bring in. The only problem for me is I can't finance it while it's on a European title. So I couldn't buy the car, even though I really wanted this vehicle. So you'd have to have the cash to pay for it up front and then bring it in. And you could bring this car into any of the 50 states because, again, this car started life as a U.S. car. The hard part here, JP, is that the car is listed with P-Car Market, and they lack a lot. So I wondered what this car might do, knowing that they were trying to get into like the high $60,000 or $70,000 range for the vehicle. So JP, really quickly, I'll just jump into the money because I know we're pressed up against time. Typically, according to our friends at Classic.com, typically a 94 RS America brings about $160,600. I believe they want $10,000 to $20,000 more for this car, but because it's on P-Car Market, I think it's only going to hammer at $120,964 and wind up in the chum bucket for whatever they want for it. JP, our car is currently listed at $80,000 on 3 bids, and it closes in 2 days. So my bid to you is $120,964. Where you at?
Whew, boy. Yeah, P-Car Market is just swing and a miss over and over and over again. I didn't get a chance to really analyze this listing. A couple of the photos there looked like there was some pretty bad orange peel on the gas flap there.
Repaint.
So is this a repaint? And a car being in Europe means like there's just I just don't think anything that's not in country just tends to really struggle on these auction sites, especially on P-Car Market. And they have a whole bunch of European cars right now. So I feel like they are in an experiment. Like they're going, well, everyone in America knows we're kind of pieces of garbage. So maybe we'll go all the way across the Atlantic Ocean.
Tell us how you really feel.
And find some people that don't know how big a dirtbags we are and convince them to try to sell some cars. I don't think I'll say 100,964 and hand it off to Dustin. What do you think?
I mean, is this a real dark blue metallic car? Did we?
Yeah, it is.
So and that's the color code, the M5X.
Yep.
I mean, that's awesome. You never see that, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm loving it, but I agree. It looks like repaint. Some of the stuff that JP was kind of zooming in on there looked like really orange peely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not loving the paint. I'm not loving that's overseas. 103. Yeah. I think it's going to aim low just because of the one, P-Car Market, and two, it's over the pond.
Yeah. If the car were here and someone in America could inspect it and some people could go look at it, and if it were on BAT and all the ands, I think this car could do really well. I think we all agree how gorgeous and wonderful these cars are, but this particular listing and this particular example, way too many questions and a way too questionable a platform in our opinion. All right. Let us know what you guys think this 964 will bring. Will it get across the ocean, or is it destined to stay in Germany? Guys, this has been a lot of fun. It's been fun covering more cars than usual. Dustin, it's been great having you in studio. What's going on with your car really quick? We've got seconds.
My 993, the one that I said I was done with 5 years ago when I cut the roof off and did a carbon roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. You saw it, right?
Yeah, it's looking good, guys.
It's light.
You can see Dustin's feature on Cars Unknown. That's my other YouTube channel. You can see his feature. Or you can find it in Porsche Road Trip, the TV show that was on Pluto TV, but that is also now available. Watch the whole season. Binge watch the whole season on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can see the playlist, and you can watch them in order. The episodes are designed in order, so it's best to enjoy them that way, and Dustin's in one of the Las Vegas episodes, so check that out. Tinker Tailored. All right, Michael Deeb, shout out to your folks over there.
Yeah, at Club Wheelhouse. Again, I am their new in-house automotive specialist. Club Wheelhouse still has some memberships available. If you're in Marin or the Bay Area, it's definitely worth coming by and taking the tour and checking us out. And JP, we've got a 964 that'll be coming up to bring a trailer pretty soon. That'll be fun for us to cover. Dustin, where can they find you?
Find my work because I pretty much live there. Vegas Auto Gallery.
Or your Instagram so they can
my
follow
Instagram,
along with your car.
my personal stuff. Oh yeah, so so it's DDAPCUS 17.
There you go, bingo.
All right, guys, we will see you Sunday night. Bye, everybody. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure you're